In the world today, our minds are constantly bombarded. The pervasive digital noise, the notifications, the social media posts, the emails demanding attention, doesn't just occupy space in our heads. It shatters our ability to focus. We live in a state of perpetual distraction, where our attention is never fully present in one place. This relentless fragmentation of our focus isn't just a byproduct of modern life. It's the consequence of how the mind is trained in an environment designed to pull it in multiple directions at once. At one point in history, the human mind was designed to focus on what was immediately important: hunting, gathering, surviving. But now, we face an entirely different challenge: the digital world, designed to capture our attention at every turn. Every click, every swipe, and every notification serves as an invitation to lose track of the present moment, leading to an overstimulated mind that is constantly on, but never truly centered. This fragmented state creates a ripple effect, affecting every aspect of our lives. Men who once prided themselves on their ability to focus now find it difficult to complete simple tasks without feeling the need to check their phone, respond to a message, or engage in another mental rabbit hole. The mental energy required to constantly switch between tasks is draining, leaving the mind exhausted and scattered, unable to perform at its full potential. We have become trained not to concentrate. Instead, we've learned how to manage a state of constant movement, constantly switching from one input to another. And while this may seem harmless, it takes a toll. Over time, we lose our ability to engage in deeper, more meaningful tasks that require sustained attention. Our minds become a battlefield, with our attention scattered like shards of glass across a vast digital landscape. But it's not just about the digital world. The mental fragmentation we experience today is compounded by a society that values speed and multitasking over presence and stillness. It's easy to get caught up in this cycle, where the pressure to do more erodes our ability to simply be. The more fragmented the mind, the more difficult it becomes to find that stillness, the type of stillness that Zen practitioners have mastered over centuries. This is where the real danger lies. When we are constantly pulled in different directions, we lose the ability to control where our focus goes. We allow the external world to dictate our attention, leaving us vulnerable to stress, anxiety, and lack of clarity. This section highlights the urgent need for training our minds to return to stillness and discipline. Zen training teaches us how to clear the mental noise and reclaim control. The first step is acknowledging the damage done by this fragmentation and understanding that, without intervention, the cycle will only deepen. The path to reclaiming focus begins by recognizing the damage caused by this constant fragmentation. Only when we admit that our minds have been hijacked can we begin to rebuild our ability to focus and return to the true power of concentration. An ability that can transform our lives. In the world of Zen, there is a state of focus so profound that it feels like a power of its own. A state where the mind becomes a razor-sharp weapon, capable of cutting through distraction and uncertainty. This is what we call dangerous focus. It's a level of concentration that transcends the mundane and enters the realm of the supernatural, where the mind is no longer tethered by external stimuli and can act with pure intention and clarity. Imagine for a moment being so focused that the world around you begins to slow down, almost as if time itself has shifted in your favor. This isn't just a metaphorical state of deep concentration. This is the actual experience of dangerous focus. It's when every thought, every movement, every breath is aligned with a singular purpose. In this state, your attention becomes a weapon, a force that can slice through the chaos of daily life with pinpoint precision. Zen monks have long understood the power of this focused state. It's not just a skill they cultivate. It's a way of life. They practice, day in and day out, honing their ability to direct their attention like a blade, cutting away all the unnecessary noise and distractions that would otherwise pull them off course. But this level of focus isn't something that happens by accident. It's the result of relentless training, a commitment to stillness, and an unwavering desire to master the mind. What makes dangerous focus so extraordinary is the feeling it creates when you achieve it. The experience is almost otherworldly. In these moments, the usual distractions, the noise, the clutter, the thoughts, dissolve. The mind feels lighter, sharper, and more powerful than ever before. It's as if your mental capacity is unlocked to its fullest extent. You become hyper-aware of everything around you, yet not overwhelmed by it. Instead, you respond to each situation with the precision and clarity of a master. This state of dangerous focus is what makes Zen training so compelling. It's not about achieving a fleeting moment of clarity, it's about developing the ability to remain in that state, to sustain it, and to harness it for peak performance. When your mind is weaponized in this way, distractions lose their power. Negative thoughts lose their grip. You are no longer the prisoner of your impulses or your environment. Instead, you become the master of your focus, capable of controlling where your attention goes with pinpoint accuracy. But here's the thing. Dangerous focus doesn't just improve your productivity. It changes the way you experience reality. The sharpness of your mind allows you to perceive the world in a new light. Time feels different. Actions feel deliberate. Thoughts feel purposeful. The sensation of dangerous focus is more than just concentration. It's an altered state of being where you operate at your highest potential. The truth is, achieving this level of focus is a skill that anyone can develop. However, it requires discipline, dedication, and a willingness to push through the discomfort of training. But once you begin to access it, the rewards are undeniable. Dangerous focus transforms your mind, making you not just effective, but unstoppable. Throughout history, Zen practitioners have reached levels of focus so profound that they were able to unlock extraordinary abilities that could transform the way they interacted with the world. These masters, often known as Zen monks, swordsmen, or calligraphers, embody the archetype of the warrior who conquers not only external enemies, but also the inner chaos that often clouds the mind. Zen's roots trace back to ancient China, where Buddhist teachings began to merge with Taoist practices. However, it was in Japan that Zen truly flourished, evolving into a philosophy that embraced not just spiritual enlightenment, but also the cultivation of discipline, focus, and mental mastery. The Zen path is not solely about meditation or contemplation. It is about integrating these practices into everyday life and using them to unlock a state of pure presence and heightened mental clarity. One of the most iconic figures in Zen history is the Japanese Zen monk Muso Kokushi, who is said to have reached a level of mental stillness and focus so intense that it was likened to the sharpness of a sword. Kokushi, like many other Zen masters, practiced not just meditation, but also martial arts, believing that mastering the body was just as crucial to achieving mental clarity. His training allowed him to enter a state of mushin, the no-mind state, where he could act without distraction, react without thought, and perform with precision. This heightened focus made him a legendary figure, revered for his ability to stay calm and present under extreme pressure. Similarly, Zen was closely tied to the way of the samurai, the warrior class in feudal Japan. The samurai were not only skilled in swordsmanship, but also trained in the meditative practices of Zen to sharpen their mental focus. One of the most famous swordsmen, Miyamoto Musashi, is a prime example of this union between Zen and the warrior spirit. Musashi, known for his unparalleled skill with a katana, attributed much of his success to his Zen practice. He once said that true victory in battle comes not just from physical strength but from a state of total mental clarity where every move is calculated and every decision is made with precision. His ability to remain undistracted in the heat of combat was a direct result of his deep focus, honed through years of Zen training. Zen's influence also extended to the world of calligraphy, where the principles of focus and presence were equally revered. Sesshu Toyo, a Zen monk and renowned Japanese ink painter, embodied the same state of concentration in his artwork. To him, the act of painting was a form of meditation, a way to bring the mind to a singular, focused point. His brushstrokes, though seemingly spontaneous, were the result of years of training, each movement executed with absolute precision and clarity. For Seshu, Zen wasn't just a philosophy. It was a way of expressing the perfection of the present moment through his art. These Zen masters, whether monks, swordsmen, or calligraphers, shared one core trait: the ability to transcend the distractions of the world and enter a state of pure focus. Their training was not just about achieving mental stillness for the sake of peace. It was about using that focus to perform at the highest level in their respective fields. Their journey to dangerous focus shows us that this level of mental clarity is not reserved for a select few, but is attainable by anyone willing to commit to the discipline of Zen practice. Their stories inspire us to believe that we too can unlock this potential within ourselves. To be not just present, but fully engaged. Not just aware, but hyper-focused. These Zen masters remind us that the path to true power lies in the stillness of the mind. Zen, as a profound practice of focus and mental clarity, has its roots in ancient China, where Buddhist teachings first began to merge with Taoist philosophy. The word Zen itself is derived from the Chinese term Chan, which means meditation. The foundation of Zen training is built on the simple yet powerful concept of mindfulness, of being fully present in the moment. But how did this practice evolve into the form we recognize today, especially in Japan? The journey of Zen focus began with the introduction of Buddhism to China from India during the Tang dynasty, around the 6th century. As Buddhist monks began to integrate their teachings with the local Taoist traditions, a distinctive form of meditation developed, one that emphasized direct experience over scripture or intellectual study. This was a revolutionary shift, as it moved away from the study of written texts and instead focused on the immediate, personal experience of enlightenment. The primary aim of this new practice was to quiet the mind, cutting through the distractions of ordinary life to reach a state of pure awareness. The Chinese Chan school, as it was called, was founded on the belief that enlightenment could be attained through direct meditation, an experience that bypassed conceptual thinking and entered the realm of direct insight. The core of this practice was not about intellectual pursuit or abstract study, but rather about experiencing the moment without distraction. Zen focus was not something to be studied. It was something to be felt, lived, and embodied in every single moment. From China, this Chan practice made its way to Japan in the 12th century, where it was refined and evolved into what we now recognize as Zen. In Japan, Zen became not just a spiritual path, but a way of life, influencing every aspect of culture, from tea ceremonies to martial arts. It was here, in the monasteries and the courts of the samurai, that Zen focus truly took root as a method of mental training. The Zen approach, as it was refined in Japan, became characterized by rigorous meditation practices, often under strict discipline, aimed at achieving a profound state of mental clarity, known as mushin, the no-mind state. This state of deep, undistracted focus was a key component of Zen training. It was no longer enough to just meditate quietly. One had to cultivate the ability to bring this mental clarity into all aspects of life. The Japanese refinement of Zen training also incorporated elements of martial discipline, particularly within the samurai class. Here, Zen training was seen as essential not only for spiritual development, but also for cultivating mental discipline, emotional control, and concentration in the heat of battle. Samurai warriors, who were expected to maintain the highest levels of focus in the midst of combat, turned to Zen as a way to sharpen their minds. The practices that evolved in Japan, therefore, merged both the meditative traditions of China with the strategic and focused discipline required in battle, creating a uniquely powerful blend of mental clarity and physical prowess. Today, the Zen practice that we recognize in the modern world emphasizing mindfulness, attention to the present moment, and the development of extreme mental clarity can trace its origins back to these early Chinese and Japanese roots. The path from ancient China to medieval Japan shows how Zen focus evolved not just as a spiritual practice, but as a tool to sharpen the mind and master life itself. In today's world, many of us are constantly running from silence. Whether it's through distractions like social media, work, or even background noise, we've become so accustomed to never being alone with our thoughts that the idea of stillness can feel overwhelming, even dangerous. But this is exactly why Zen training places such emphasis on stillness. For Zen practitioners, stillness is not just about peace or quiet. It is about confronting the very essence of the mind itself. Stillness, in the Zen tradition, is a powerful tool for breaking through the mental noise and chaos that fills our everyday lives. It forces the mind to face itself, stripping away all external distractions. At first, this can be an uncomfortable experience. When you sit in absolute stillness, without any noise or activity to distract you, you come face to face with the thoughts, fears, and insecurities that often remain buried beneath the surface. These are the parts of the mind we often avoid, not because they're inherently dangerous, but because they challenge our sense of control. In a world where action is constantly rewarded, where we are told that doing is the key to success, stillness can feel like a threat. Our minds are used to racing from one thing to the next, constantly seeking external stimuli to fill the emptiness we fear. In this state of perpetual motion, we avoid confronting the deeper, more uncomfortable aspects of our psyche. But when we practice Zen stillness, we are asked to do something radically different, to sit with ourselves, to be fully present, and to embrace the discomfort that arises when the noise of the world fades away. This confrontation with the mind can be daunting. It's not uncommon for men to feel anxiety or frustration in these moments of stillness. Thoughts flood in memories, worries, desires, and the mind often rebels, urging you to move, to act, to do anything but stay still. But this resistance is the very point. Zen training teaches us that true mental power is found not by avoiding these thoughts, but by confronting them directly. When you sit in stillness, you give your mind the space it needs to release its grip on you. Instead of being controlled by your thoughts and emotions, you begin to observe them, without judgment or attachment. Over time, this practice of stillness becomes a tool for transformation. It forces you to become aware of the patterns in your mind, the triggers, the distractions, the habitual thought processes that dictate your behavior. By allowing yourself to sit in the discomfort of your thoughts, you gain the power to separate yourself from them. The thoughts you once feared or tried to suppress no longer have control over you. In fact, the more you sit with your thoughts, the less power they have to shape your reality. Stillness in Zen is not a passive state. It is an active process of confronting, observing, and ultimately, letting go. It's in this quiet, often uncomfortable space that we begin to experience true mental clarity. In Zen, dangerous stillness doesn't just calm the mind. It forces it to confront the chaos within, to unravel the layers of conditioning and distraction that keep us from accessing our full potential. The discomfort you feel in stillness is simply the mind's resistance to change, to freedom from the constant noise. The power of Zen's dangerous stillness lies in its ability to cut through the distractions and bring you face to face with yourself. It is only by embracing this stillness, by allowing the mind to settle into the present moment, that true clarity and focus can be achieved. Through this confrontation, you are not just observing your thoughts, you are mastering them. Mushin, often referred to as the no-mind state, is the pinnacle of Zen focus, a state in which the mind is entirely free from distraction, overthinking, and mental clutter. It is a state where the practitioner acts with absolute clarity, without the interference of extraneous thoughts or emotions. In Zen, achieving Mushin is not just a goal. It is the key to true mental mastery. It is a mental state where the practitioner is fully present in the moment, responding intuitively to the world without hesitation or confusion. Philosophically, Mushin represents the highest form of mental clarity and freedom. In this state, the mind is not preoccupied with the past or future, but is completely absorbed in the present. The Zen practitioner is no longer entangled in the web of thoughts, worries, or desires that typically cloud the mind. Instead, they enter a state of pure awareness, where everything is experienced directly, without the filter of judgment or attachment. In this way, Mushin is the ultimate form of mental liberation, a mind freed from the tyranny of overthinking, where clarity and simplicity prevail. Historically, Mushin was central not only to Zen monks, but also to the samurai warriors, who adopted Zen as a way to sharpen their focus in battle. For the samurai, Mushin was a life or death skill. To fight with a clear mind, free from the distraction of fear, anger, or hesitation, was to be in a state of perfect concentration. Samurai swordsmen, like Miyamoto Musashi, sought Mushin in their swordsmanship. When they fought, they did not consciously think about their movements. Instead, their training allowed them to respond fluidly and instinctively, as if their bodies acted in harmony with their surroundings. Their skill was not just technical, it was a product of mental stillness, of being completely in the moment. In practice, psychologically, Mushin allows the mind to let go of the constant chatter that usually pulls us away from true focus. Overthinking is one of the most common obstacles to achieving clarity. We often get caught in a loop of analysis, worrying about outcomes or trying to control situations that are beyond our control. This constant mental noise not only drains our energy but also robs us of our ability to act decisively. Mushin, however, is the antidote to overthinking. When the mind reaches this state of zero thought, it is no longer bogged down by the weight of past experiences or future uncertainties. Instead, the mind becomes sharp and clear, able to respond naturally and effortlessly to what is in front of it. Mushin is often experienced in moments of heightened concentration. For example, a musician might enter Mushin while playing an instrument, when their fingers move effortlessly in rhythm with the music. A martial artist may experience Mushin in the midst of combat, where every move is executed with precision and fluidity, without the need for conscious thought. In these moments, the practitioner is not thinking about their actions. They are simply allowing their body and mind to work in perfect harmony. The psychological benefit of Mushin is profound. It offers freedom from the anxiety of overthinking and the chaos of scattered thoughts. In this state, the mind is both calm and sharp, able to focus without distraction, perform without hesitation, and react with clarity. It is the ultimate state of mental stillness, where action flows effortlessly from awareness, and every decision is instinctive, precise, and deliberate. Mushin is not something that can be achieved overnight. It is a skill that requires constant practice and dedication. Through Zen meditation, mindfulness practices, and mental training, anyone can cultivate the ability to enter this state. The more you train your mind to let go of unnecessary thoughts, the more accessible Mushin becomes. Ultimately, it is a state of complete mental freedom, where clarity reigns, and overthinking no longer stands in the way of action. In today's fast-paced world, we are bombarded with constant input notifications, emails, advertisements, and even the pressure of expectations from others. This mental clutter leaves us overstimulated and unable to focus on what truly matters. Our minds are like a radio tuned to every station, picking up static, distortion, and noise from every direction. Before we can begin any serious mental training, Zen teaches us that the first step is to remove this noise and regain control over our minds. The Zen approach to clearing the mind is simple but profound. Subtraction before training. In Zen, we don't try to immediately add more techniques, strategies, or tools to sharpen our focus. Instead, we begin by removing everything that is distracting us. Just as a sculptor begins with a block of marble and removes the excess material to reveal the statue inside, Zen training starts with clearing away the unnecessary mental noise to reveal the mind's true potential. This process of subtraction involves cutting through the layers of mental clutter that have accumulated over time. It is about stopping the constant flow of thoughts that demand our attention, acknowledging them without judgment, and allowing them to pass by without attachment. Every thought, every worry, and every feeling that enters the mind is simply another piece of mental noise. By observing these distractions without getting entangled in them, we begin to free the mind from their grip. To achieve this, Zen practitioners often begin with a practice called zazen, or seated meditation. During zazen, the goal is not to eliminate thoughts entirely, that would be impossible, but rather to observe them without reacting. With each breath, the practitioner lets go of unnecessary thoughts, returning to the present moment, over and over again. At first, this can feel like an uphill battle. The mind is restless and constantly pulls you in different directions. However, with time and practice, the constant chatter begins to quiet. Thoughts no longer have the same power over you. The noise begins to fade, and what remains is a sense of calm and clarity. In a world that rewards constant activity and productivity, this process of letting go can feel counterintuitive. We are conditioned to believe that more is better, more tasks, more information, more stimulation. Yet Zen shows us that the path to mental clarity lies in stripping away what is unnecessary. By creating space in the mind, we make room for deeper insight, clearer focus, and greater presence. This practice of removing mental noise is not just about quieting the mind for the sake of peace. It's a foundational step in preparing the mind for the next phase of Zen training. Without clearing away the clutter, it is nearly impossible to achieve the kind of deep concentration and focus required for true mental mastery. Once the noise has been removed, the mind can begin to focus more sharply on the present moment. The relief that comes from this subtraction is immediate and profound. For the first time in a long while, the mind feels lighter, freer, and less burdened by the constant demands of the external world. This clarity is not the absence of thoughts, but the ability to let them come and go without clinging to them. It is a return to the natural stillness of the mind, what Zen practitioners refer to as the beginner's mind. In this space of mental clarity, we can begin to cultivate true focus, and from that foundation, all future training can take root. For many of us, mornings can be a chaotic rush. We wake up to the constant barrage of thoughts, our to-do lists, our responsibilities, the lingering stress from yesterday. We may grab our phones first thing, dive into emails, or scroll through social media, only adding to the mental clutter before the day even begins. This frantic start sets the tone for the rest of the day, and by the time we're out the door, our minds are already overloaded. But Zen monks have a different approach, one that centers around the ritual of morning emptiness, a practice designed to cultivate stillness, clarity, and a sense of mental cleanliness before the day begins. The monk's morning ritual is simple, yet profound, and it starts with breathing. In Zen, the breath is always the starting point. Long before any thoughts arise, the focus is on the simple act of breathing deeply, slowly, and mindfully. The breath is a powerful anchor, bringing the mind back to the present moment and quieting the noise of overactive thoughts. Through controlled, deep breathing, the monk begins to center themselves. The act of inhaling and exhaling with intention clears the mind, grounding the practitioner in the here and now. The second step of the morning ritual is cleansing. This doesn't necessarily mean washing the body, although that may be part of the physical routine. It's more about cleansing the mind. Before a monk can enter the stillness of meditation or begin any form of serious focus, they must let go of the residual mental baggage from the previous day. This mental cleansing happens through a mindful practice, where the monk lets go of the clutter, the distractions, and the anxieties that may be lingering. In Zen, this is the act of emptying the mind to make space for the present moment. Next comes posture. The body plays a crucial role in Zen practice, and how you sit in the morning impacts the way your mind will function throughout the day. A monk's morning ritual includes mindful attention to posture. Sitting upright, with the back straight and the shoulders relaxed, the monk aligns their body with their mind. In Zen, posture is not merely about physical alignment. It's a practice of discipline that sets the foundation for mental focus. When the body is still and aligned, the mind follows suit, becoming less restless and more attuned to the present moment. Finally, silence is essential. The monk's morning ritual is marked by stillness, not just external, but internal silence as well. The mind is allowed to rest in quiet, with no rush to fill it with the noise of thoughts or distractions. Silence in the morning creates a space where clarity can emerge. It is in this silence that a monk prepares for the day's challenges, not by filling the mind with plans and goals, but by allowing the mind to be open and receptive to whatever arises. Incorporating this ritual of morning emptiness into your own life can have profound benefits. Even if you're not a monk, the practice of breathing deeply, cleansing your mind, sitting with good posture, and embracing silence can help you start your day with a sense of calm and clarity. Instead of diving into the chaos, you create a peaceful, grounded foundation from which to face the world. This ritual doesn't just prepare the mind for focus. It helps reset the mind, creating a state of stillness that allows you to move through the day with greater presence and less mental clutter. By practicing this ritual of morning emptiness, you not only prepare yourself mentally, but also physically, emotionally, and spiritually for the day ahead. You begin each day with a sense of control and calm, ready to approach whatever challenges arise with clarity and focus. For many, the idea of a quiet mind seems elusive, a far-off concept that belongs to monks or rare, extraordinary individuals. In the early stages of training, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the constant stream of thoughts, worries, and distractions. But Zen offers a powerful experience that can be the first breakthrough for anyone struggling to quiet their mind. This moment, the first taste of Mushin, the no-mind state, is often subtle, but it's deeply profound. For the first time, the character experiences light silence in their mind. And this is where the transformation begins. Imagine, for a moment, sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and simply allowing your thoughts to come and go without clinging to them. At first, the mind may feel cluttered and chaotic, racing from one thought to the next, trying to keep up with the constant demand for attention. But after some practice, after giving yourself permission to just sit without striving, something shifts. It's not about forcing the mind into silence. It's about allowing silence to emerge naturally, as if the noise of the world gradually fades into the background. The first experience of this quiet mind is often unexpected, like a small opening in the storm. Perhaps it's just a moment of calm in between two turbulent waves of thought. For a few seconds, you might notice that the world feels quieter, that the usual mental chatter has softened, leaving space for clarity. In that moment, there is a sense of relief, a brief but powerful release from the constant pressure of doing, thinking, achieving. This experience may seem fleeting at first, but it is a crucial step. The quiet mind doesn't come all at once. It often emerges in small increments, like a single wave of stillness before the next. But each time it arrives, even if only for a moment, it becomes easier to recognize. This is the first taste of the deep mental peace Zen promises. For many men, particularly those who struggle with overthinking and constant mental noise, this experience is a huge win. It's proof that there is a way to access silence. It's a sign that change is possible. And most importantly, it creates an emotional anchor, a deep sense of knowing that, with practice, this silence is attainable. In this moment, there is no rush, no external pressure. It is simply being. This experience of quiet mind is a turning point. It builds emotional resilience and offers a glimmer of hope for anyone who has felt trapped in the relentless cycle of mental noise. It reminds you that, while the chaos of life may seem overwhelming, there is a space within you where calm can be found. This first taste of stillness doesn't just offer mental relief. It offers a glimpse into a way of living that is not dominated by thoughts, stress, or external demands. Over time, as you continue to practice and return to this quiet space, it will become easier to access, and the periods of stillness will grow longer. What starts as fleeting moments of silence can eventually evolve into a powerful foundation of peace that you can draw on throughout the day. In Zen, this first experience of quiet mind is the beginning of a new relationship with your thoughts. It's not about suppressing them, but about learning to let them come and go without being swept away by them. This breakthrough becomes a powerful emotional anchor, reminding you that silence is not only possible, but also sustainable. In our modern world, multitasking has become a badge of honor. We juggle multiple tasks at once, often believing that the more we do, the more productive we are. However, the truth is that the brain wasn't designed for constant task switching. In fact, multitasking splits our attention and weakens our ability to focus deeply. Zen masters, who have cultivated a sharp, laser-like focus over centuries, understand that true mental power comes not from doing many things at once, but from fully immersing oneself in a single task. This practice of single-task immersion is known in Zen as ichigyo-zamai, which can be translated as one-task concentration or one-task immersion. The Zen masters who practice ichigyo-zamai have mastered the art of focusing on one action at a time, to the exclusion of all else. Whether they are meditating, cleaning, or practicing calligraphy, they bring the same level of deep focus and presence to each task. The beauty of this practice lies in its simplicity. Instead of allowing the mind to jump from one thought to another, Zen teaches that the mind should be immersed fully in the task at hand. When cleaning a room, for example, the Zen practitioner focuses solely on the motion of wiping the floor, the sensation of the cloth in their hand, and the simple rhythm of their movements. There is no room for distraction. The world outside the task ceases to exist for that moment. The mind is locked into a single point of attention, allowing the action to become the object of complete focus. The power of ichigyo-zamai can be seen in Zen's approach to samu, or the work of a monk. Samu may involve simple tasks like sweeping, chopping wood, or preparing meals. But in the hands of a Zen practitioner, these tasks are transformed into profound acts of concentration. Every movement is deliberate. Every action is mindful. In this way, the act of sweeping the floor becomes an opportunity for meditation. The Zen practitioner is not concerned with finishing the task or moving on to something else. They are focused entirely on the action of sweeping, feeling the rhythm and the motion with complete awareness. This deep immersion in one task is more than just a practice for monks. It is a lesson for anyone trying to overcome the distractions of modern life. In a world filled with constant interruptions, texts, emails, notifications, and meetings, the ability to focus on one thing at a time can feel like a superpower. However, like any skill, it requires practice. Zen teaches that it's not enough to simply try to focus on one thing. You must train your mind to do so. The act of returning to the present moment, again and again, despite the urge to scatter your attention, is the true practice of ichigyo-zamai. For those who struggle with constant distraction, the key is to begin with small, manageable tasks. Start by fully immersing yourself in something simple, eating, walking, or even a 5-minute stretch. When the mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the task at hand. Over time, this practice will sharpen your ability to focus deeply on whatever you are doing. The more you train your mind to immerse itself in one task at a time, the more naturally you will move through your day with clarity and purpose. By embracing ichigyo-zamai, we learn to take control of our attention. The world around us is chaotic, but our focus doesn't have to be. By honing the ability to immerse ourselves in one task, we gain the power to shape our own mental landscape one action at a time. In a world of constant distractions, notifications, temptations, and mental impulses, it can feel nearly impossible to maintain control over where our attention goes. We are bombarded with desires, both subtle and overt, that demand our attention and pull us away from our tasks. This constant tug-of-war between focus and distraction is a battle most of us lose daily. But Zen monks, through years of rigorous mental training, have developed the ability to resist these distractions with remarkable discipline. Their training offers powerful insights into how we can cultivate the same level of control over our impulses. Monks do not simply meditate for serenity. They engage in what can be seen as an anti-distraction training. Every aspect of Zen practice is designed to help the monk resist the constant pull of the mind's desires and distractions. The core principle of this training is control over mental impulses. It is not enough to simply try to block distractions. Monks learn to confront them, to acknowledge them, and then to let them go without acting on them. The first step in a monk's anti-distraction training is awareness. Monks become incredibly attuned to their internal urges, the fleeting thoughts and desires that arise, often without warning. A monk might feel the urge to scratch an itch, check the time, or daydream about something unrelated to the present task. However, in Zen, these urges are seen not as enemies to be eliminated, but as signals, indicators of the mind's tendency to wander. The monk's practice is to observe these urges without reacting to them. This is the beginning of self-mastery. The ability to notice what the mind is doing without immediately yielding to its demands. One of the core techniques used to build this awareness and control is sitting meditation or zazen. While sitting, monks are instructed to maintain stillness and observe their thoughts. They are told to allow thoughts to arise naturally but not to follow them or engage with them. If the mind begins to wander to distractions such as the desire to move, check something, or get lost in thoughts, monks gently guide their attention back to their breath or their posture. This practice helps build mental fortitude. The more often they resist the urge to follow these impulses, the stronger their focus becomes. Another technique used in Zen training to combat distraction is discipline through repetition. Monks perform the same tasks, repeatedly sweeping the floor, cleaning the temple, cooking meals with the same level of attention and concentration. The repetition of these tasks is not about mindlessly going through motions, but about resisting the urge to rush through them, to get to the end, or to think about anything other than the present moment. In this way, the monk trains the mind to stay rooted in the task at hand, no matter how mundane or how challenging it might be. Over time, this repetition strengthens the monk's ability to maintain focus and resist distractions in every aspect of their life. Physical discipline also plays a key role in the monk's ability to resist distractions. Zen monks live by strict codes of conduct, and their lives are marked by routines that emphasize simplicity and control. By training the body to move with purpose, whether through walking, sitting, or performing chores, monks reinforce the mind-body connection. The body becomes a vessel for focus, and resisting distractions becomes second nature. For men who feel weak against urges or easily distracted, Zen's anti-distraction training offers a powerful model. It's not about suppressing thoughts or desires. It's about building the discipline to observe them without getting lost in them. By practicing awareness, repetition, and physical discipline, anyone can begin to strengthen their mental control. Over time, resisting distractions becomes easier, and focus becomes more natural. The more we train our ability to ignore mental impulses, the more we can harness our attention for greater clarity, productivity, and peace of mind. There's a moment in every person's journey toward greater focus. A breakthrough moment, when all the effort, the practice, and the struggle finally come to fruition. For many men, especially those who have long been distracted by the noise of life, This moment can feel like an awakening. It's the moment when everything falls into place, and for the first time, they experience the kind of deep focus Zen practitioners speak of. The mind clears, and there's an undeniable sense of power that comes with it. An emotional reward that is not just the result of concentration, but the result of mastery over the self. Imagine the character, let's call him Jake, sitting in a room, feeling the weight of the world pressing in on him. For months, Jake has struggled with distractions, pulled in every direction by his to-do list, his phone, his scattered thoughts. But today is different. He's practiced his Zen breathing, he's worked on clearing his mind, and now, sitting in stillness, he begins to feel something he's never felt before. The usual barrage of mental noise beginning to fade into the background. He's no longer chasing after each thought or feeling. For the first time, his mind is simply present, aware of the moment without judgment, without the need to control it. This is the first deep focus moment Jake experiences. The sense of mental clarity washes over him like a wave. There's no effort in the focus. It comes naturally, effortlessly, like the breath he's been consciously taking. His mind is sharp, not scattered, and he can feel a sense of stillness within him, even as the world around him continues to move. In this moment, the distractions that once seemed so loud are no longer relevant. Jake is completely absorbed in the present, fully immersed in whatever he is doing. Whether he's working, reading, or simply sitting in silence, the effect is the same. Time begins to feel different. The usual sense of urgency or anxiety is gone, replaced by a quiet sense of control. For the first time, Jake realizes that he doesn't need to rush through tasks or multitask. Instead, he can focus on one thing at a time and do it with full attention. The task he's working on, whatever it may be, feels important because his entire being is dedicated to it. It's no longer just a chore or a distraction. It's a moment of connection, a moment of true presence. This experience is more than just a mental breakthrough, it's an emotional one. Jake feels a deep sense of relief, as if the pressure of constant distraction has lifted. The constant mental chatter that used to plague him is no longer there, and in its place is a profound sense of inner peace. For the first time, he realizes that he doesn't need to be ruled by his impulses or the demands of the outside world. He can control where his attention goes, and this realization is liberating. The emotional reward of this first deep focus moment is powerful. It's not just about achieving concentration. It's about the satisfaction of seeing progress, the reward of having broken through the fog of distraction. For Jake, this is a turning point. He can now look back at the days of chaos and see that they were not inevitable. The stillness he's experienced is available to him whenever he chooses it, and with each repetition of this focus, it becomes more natural. This moment of deep focus is a glimpse into the transformative power of Zen. It shows Jake and us that true mental control is possible. It's not just a fleeting experience. It's a foundation to build upon, a new way of being that will carry through every aspect of life. The emotional reward is not only a sense of peace, but also a new level of self-confidence. Jake now knows that he is capable of deep focus. And with that knowledge comes the power to achieve even more. In many modern approaches to personal growth and mental discipline, the mind and body are often seen as separate entities. The prevailing belief is that mental clarity can be achieved through intellectual effort alone, with the body simply serving as a vessel for the mind. Zen, however, challenges this mindset by showing that the body plays an essential role in cultivating mental power. Zen masters understand that true focus and mental clarity cannot be separated from physical discipline. The body is the foundation upon which mental strength is built. The practice of training the body first is deeply embedded in Zen training. Before diving into advanced meditation or other mental techniques, Zen practitioners begin by mastering their physical posture, breathing, and movement. These foundational practices serve as the bedrock for mental focus. Without a disciplined body, the mind cannot function at its highest capacity. Zen monks are trained to sit with perfect posture, move with intention, and breathe with mindfulness, all of which create a solid foundation for mental control and focus. Breathing is the first step in this physical training. It may seem like a simple action, but the way we breathe has a profound impact on the mind. Shallow, erratic breathing can lead to anxiety, restlessness, and mental confusion. Deep, controlled breathing, on the other hand, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, calming the body and mind. Zen monks practice breathing techniques to bring their attention fully to the present moment, helping to quiet mental distractions and sharpen focus. By training the body to breathe slowly and deliberately, they begin to master the mind. In this way, the act of breathing becomes both a physical and mental practice, a tool for cultivating clarity and calm. Posture is equally important in Zen. The body and mind are intimately connected, and when the body is in a state of discomfort or misalignment, the mind often follows suit. Zen monks are taught to sit with a straight back, shoulders relaxed, and body centered. This posture not only supports physical health, but also cultivates mental awareness. When the body is still and aligned, the mind becomes more attuned to the present moment. There is less physical tension and restlessness, which allows the practitioner to focus with greater intensity. The discipline of maintaining perfect posture during meditation, as well as throughout daily tasks, reinforces the connection between the body and mind, making it easier to cultivate mental clarity. The practice of stillness drills is another essential part of Zen's physical training. Zen monks spend long periods of time in stillness, not just during meditation, but throughout their day. The ability to sit or stand still, without fidgeting or succumbing to the impulse to move, is a powerful exercise in self-discipline. This practice of stillness trains the body to remain grounded and calm, even in the face of discomfort. It teaches the monk to observe their body's sensations and resist the urge to react to them, cultivating patience and endurance. This physical discipline directly enhances the ability to focus mentally. When the body is still, the mind can become still as well. For men who often separate mind and body, Zen provides a profound lesson. The two are inextricably linked. Mental clarity and focus are not just products of thought. They are the result of a harmonious balance between body and mind. By training the body first through focused breathing, perfect posture, and stillness drills, the Zen practitioner lays the foundation for deeper mental strength. These physical practices are not merely exercises. They are tools for cultivating the discipline, presence, and mental clarity necessary to excel in every aspect of life. This holistic approach to training shows that mental power is not just about what happens in the mind, but about how the body supports that power. As the body becomes more disciplined, the mind follows suit, becoming sharper, more focused, and more resilient. Zen teaches us that physical training is not a separate pursuit from mental mastery. It is the very means through which mental mastery is achieved. In the midst of life's chaos, be it the pressure of work, personal struggles, or the constant bombardment of distractions, anxiety can quickly spiral out of control. It feels like an uncontrollable force, pulling your thoughts in every direction. But Zen offers a powerful tool to combat this mental chaos: breathing. Zen teaches that the breath is not just a biological function. It is a weapon of clarity, an anchor that can ground the mind, calm the body, and sharpen focus in the most turbulent of moments. The Zen approach to breathing is simple yet transformative. It is not just about taking a deep breath or breathing to relax. It's about using the breath as a tool to cut through anxiety, to sharpen your awareness, and to bring the mind back to a state of laser-sharp focus. Just as a sword can cut through obstacles with precision, the breath, when harnessed properly, can slice through the mental noise that clouds our minds. The first technique that Zen practitioners use to harness the power of breath is called abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. This technique is designed to activate the body's natural calming mechanisms by engaging the diaphragm rather than the chest. To practice this, sit upright and place your hand gently on your stomach. As you inhale, feel your stomach expand as your diaphragm moves downward. Exhale slowly, letting the breath fully leave your body. By focusing on breathing deeply into the abdomen, you ground your attention and begin to quiet the anxious thoughts that often race through the mind. This deep, controlled breathing signals to the body that it is safe, reducing the physiological symptoms of stress and anxiety, such as a racing heart or shallow breathing. The second technique is the counted breath. This practice is often used in Zen meditation to deepen concentration. In this technique, you inhale slowly and count to 4 as you do so. Hold your breath for another count of 4, and then exhale slowly for a count of 4. This controlled rhythm of the breath creates a steady focus and helps pull the mind away from anxious thoughts. Each breath becomes a single point of concentration, a beacon that guides the mind away from distractions. The counting helps to engage the conscious mind, preventing it from wandering, while also activating the body's relaxation response. With each cycle of breath, the mind becomes more anchored in the present moment, allowing you to step away from anxiety and into clarity. The third technique involves silent breathing, which is a practice of breathing without any conscious effort to control or manipulate the breath. In Zen, this is known as shikantaza, just sitting. By allowing the breath to flow naturally, without interference, the practitioner becomes more attuned to the body and its rhythms. In moments of anxiety, this silent breathing technique can be especially powerful. When we stop trying to control or fight our breath, we allow it to return to its natural state, which is both calming and centering. Silent breathing teaches us to surrender to the present moment, accepting whatever arises without judgment or resistance. It's a form of mental surrender that clears away the noise of overthinking and creates a space of inner stillness. By practicing these breathing techniques, we begin to develop a relationship with our breath that goes beyond simply staying alive. It becomes a weapon, a tool for mental mastery. When anxiety strikes, the breath becomes the sword that cuts through the storm of chaotic thoughts. In moments of panic or overwhelm, you can turn to the breath to reclaim control. It is a constant, accessible anchor that doesn't require external resources, just your own awareness and the power of your breath. Zen teaches that mental clarity is not something we must seek outside of ourselves. It lies within, accessible at all times, through the simple, profound act of breathing. By making breath a conscious practice, it transforms from a passive process to an active tool for control, focus, and inner peace. This is how the breath becomes a sword, a weapon of clarity that, with practice, can slice through the anxiety, distractions, and mental clutter that cloud our minds. In a world that moves at breakneck speed, many men find themselves plagued by restless minds. Thoughts rush in like waves, and the constant mental chatter can feel overwhelming. Anxiety, stress, and scattered attention are the products of a mind that is constantly in motion, just as a restless body mirrors that mental agitation. Zen offers a profound solution. By cultivating physical stillness, you can begin to create mental stillness. The link between posture and mental peace is not just a metaphor. It is a practical and powerful reality that Zen teaches with great clarity. The foundation of Zen practice is rooted in the idea that the mind and body are inextricably linked. When the body is in a state of motion or discomfort, the mind follows suit. Restlessness in the body breeds restlessness in the mind. Conversely, when the body is still, the mind is more likely to follow that example. Zen monks, who train for years in stillness, know that a calm, centered body is the first step toward achieving a focused, quiet mind. The practice of perfect posture is one of the first tools Zen practitioners use to still the mind. Whether sitting or standing, maintaining an aligned and centered posture sends a message to the brain that it is time for focus. Sitting with a straight back and shoulders relaxed allows the spine to support the body, creating an open space for the breath to flow naturally. This posture is not about rigidity, but about creating a position of comfort and alertness. When the body is supported and stable, the mind can more easily remain calm. The discomfort of slouching, shifting, or fidgeting creates unnecessary distractions that pull attention away from the present moment. By training the body to be still, Zen practitioners create a space where the mind can also rest in stillness. This stillness of posture is often accompanied by focused breathing. Deep, slow breaths not only calm the nervous system but also provide a rhythm that the mind can follow. The breath becomes the anchor, grounding the body and quieting the mind. With each inhale and exhale, mental tension dissipates. When the body is still, it encourages the breath to slow down, which in turn slows down the mind. By focusing on the rhythm of the breath and maintaining a steady posture, the practitioner enters a state of physical stillness that supports mental calm. Zen also incorporates stillness drills as part of its physical training. In these drills, monks practice sitting or standing without any movement, even when discomfort arises. The ability to sit still for extended periods, without fidgeting or adjusting, is not just about physical endurance. It's a practice of mental discipline. As the monk sits in stillness, they learn to observe their body's sensations without reacting to them. This discipline allows them to detach from the impulse to move, teaching them to sit with discomfort and stillness. Over time, this practice translates into mental control. The ability to sit with discomfort in the mind without reacting, without giving in to the urge to mentally move or escape the present moment. The connection between physical stillness and mental peace is also evident in Zen walking meditation. When walking, Zen practitioners make every step deliberate and intentional. The rhythm of each step is matched with the breath, creating a mindful, flowing movement that keeps the mind focused. Even in motion, the practitioner is cultivating a sense of inner stillness. This practice shows that stillness isn't confined to just moments of sitting quietly. It can be integrated into every action, every movement, and every part of daily life. For men who struggle with a restless mind, this practice of physical stillness offers an immediate and practical solution. When you train the body to be still through posture, breathing, and stillness drills, you create a mental environment where calmness can take root. As the body learns to be still, the mind follows suit. The habitual restlessness that has dominated your thoughts begins to fade, replaced by a quiet, focused clarity. The more you practice this connection between body and mind, the more you will experience moments of mental peace in your daily life. Zen teaches that physical stillness is not just an external practice, but an internal one. By quieting the body, you quiet the mind. And in that stillness, you find clarity, focus, and peace. The chaotic thoughts that once controlled you become less powerful, and the space for mental stillness expands. This is the power of Zen training. To still the body, in order to still the mind, and to achieve a deeper sense of peace in every moment. For many men, the greatest battle they face isn't in the external world, it's within their own minds. The mind, in its natural state, can become a battlefield, where the inner voice constantly criticizes, doubts, and undermines our sense of self. This internal resistance is often the source of overthinking, anxiety, and frustration. But in Zen, there is a profound understanding of this struggle, and with it, a powerful approach to overcoming it. The mind attacks itself in many forms. Thoughts of inadequacy, fear of failure, and the constant replaying of past mistakes often flood our consciousness. These thoughts are not just passive, they actively create resistance to the present moment, pushing us into a perpetual state of mental chaos. When we begin to focus on a task, the mind will often start pulling us in multiple directions, offering distractions, worries, or judgments that prevent us from being truly present. This is what Zen calls the internal war, a war fought not with external enemies, but with our own thoughts and emotions. The Zen perspective on this internal resistance is that the mind, left unchecked, is prone to creating its own conflicts. This happens because the mind is driven by desires, attachments, and judgments. These mental patterns create inner friction, much like a machine that is not properly lubricated, constantly grinding, creating noise, and wearing itself down. The Zen practitioner understands that, at its core, this internal struggle arises from the mind's tendency to cling to things, whether it's the desire for control, approval, or the avoidance of discomfort. By clinging to these desires, the mind creates a cycle of dissatisfaction and conflict. Zen teaches that the root of inner resistance is attachment. When we attach ourselves to a particular outcome, expectation, or emotion, we create an internal conflict. This conflict is the mind's natural response to the fear of not having what it wants, or the discomfort of facing an unpleasant reality. For example, when faced with a difficult task or challenge, the mind may start to fear failure. It may try to resist the task altogether, offering excuses, doubts, and distractions in an attempt to avoid the discomfort that comes with the challenge. In doing so, the mind attacks itself, preventing us from moving forward and staying focused on the present. One of the most important lessons Zen offers is that the mind's resistance is not something to fight against, but something to observe and understand. In Zen practice, monks are taught to sit in stillness and observe their thoughts without getting attached to them. This practice of observing thoughts without judgment allows the practitioner to see the mind for what it truly is: a collection of fleeting, ever-changing thoughts and feelings. The goal is not to suppress these thoughts or to win the internal battle, but to recognize them as temporary and impermanent. By simply observing the mind's activity without reacting, the practitioner begins to dissolve the internal conflict. Zen teaches that the key to ending the internal war is mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment. When we are mindful, we stop fighting against the thoughts that arise. Instead, we observe them without judgment. And in doing so, they lose their power over us. The moment we stop fighting our thoughts, we begin to experience freedom from them. The mind, no longer engaged in internal resistance, becomes quiet, focused, and present. This shift in perspective allows us to take action without being weighed down by doubt or fear. For men who struggle with overthinking, the Zen approach offers a profound insight. The mind is not the enemy. It is simply a tool, one that can be trained to support our goals and mental clarity. When we stop fighting the thoughts that arise and simply observe them with compassion and awareness, we take away their power. The internal war dissolves, leaving space for peace, focus, and action. This is the essence of Zen, not to defeat the mind, but to understand it, let go of attachments, and find stillness in the midst of the storm. For many men, emotions are often overwhelming, pulling them in different directions. One moment, they may feel anger or frustration. The next, anxiety or sadness. These emotions, though natural, can feel like they take over, controlling thoughts and actions. What Zen teaches, however, is that emotions and thoughts do not define us. Rather than becoming engulfed by them, we have the power to observe them and remain detached. This is the foundation of observer consciousness, the ability to see thoughts and emotions arise without becoming identified with them. When we react to our thoughts, emotions, or external circumstances, we often become entangled in them. For example, if you have a thought like, "I'm not good enough," it may trigger feelings of inadequacy, leading to self-doubt or stress. In that moment, the thought becomes the experience, and the emotional response follows, as if it were a chain reaction. We allow ourselves to be swept away by this mental flood, losing our ability to think clearly or act rationally. The key to breaking this cycle is detachment, learning to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming consumed by them. Zen practice trains the mind to observe its own activity. The goal is not to suppress or avoid emotions, but to see them clearly without getting involved in them. When an emotion or thought arises, rather than reacting or identifying with it, the Zen practitioner observes it as if watching a leaf float down a stream without judgment, attachment, or the need to control it. By doing so, the practitioner begins to cultivate a sense of emotional neutrality, the ability to feel an emotion without being swept away by it. This practice of observer consciousness starts with mindfulness. The Zen monk sits in stillness, focusing on their breath, and when thoughts or emotions arise, they simply notice them. There is no attempt to change them or push them away. If a thought comes up, such as, "I'm stressed about work," the Zen practitioner simply acknowledges the thought. "I'm thinking about work." The thought is not me, and the feeling that accompanies it is not who I am. It's just a passing mental event, one that doesn't need to define the entire moment. This training and observation can be applied in everyday life. When an emotionally charged situation arises, perhaps you get into an argument, or a difficult memory resurfaces, the first step is to stop and simply observe the emotion without reacting. Instead of immediately acting on the feeling of anger, for instance, you notice it. You might say to yourself, "I'm feeling angry right now." By labeling the emotion, you begin to distance yourself from it. You no longer become the anger. You are the observer of it. With time, this practice of emotional detachment becomes more natural. As emotions arise, you learn not to give them power over your actions. If anger arises, instead of allowing it to drive you to act impulsively, you observe it and give it space to pass. If sadness arises, you acknowledge it, but you don't let it take over your thoughts or behavior. This emotional neutrality doesn't mean that you don't feel or experience emotions. It means that emotions no longer control you. You begin to recognize that emotions are transient and that you have the ability to respond to them with awareness rather than reacting impulsively. This emotional awareness is an essential part of Zen training. By practicing observer consciousness, you build emotional resilience and clarity. You start to understand that thoughts and emotions are not permanent. They come and go like clouds passing in the sky. When you no longer identify with them, they lose their grip on you. This is not to say that emotional experiences are not valid or important, but that through observation, you can respond from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. For men who struggle with emotional reactivity, Zen offers a profound path to greater emotional freedom. By learning to observe thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them, you begin to regain control over your reactions. In this space of observation, you can act with intentionality, clarity, and calmness, transforming emotional challenges into opportunities for growth. For many men, progress can feel elusive just when they're on the brink of a breakthrough. Something pulls them back. It could be a sudden surge of doubt, a negative thought, or an emotional reaction that derails the momentum. This cycle of sabotage, whether through procrastination, self-doubt, or impulsive decisions, can feel like an internal barrier to success. But in Zen, there is a transformative moment, a turning point when the individual gains the ability to break free from this pattern. In this moment, self-mastery rises, not through force or willpower, but through the simple act of allowing thoughts to come and go without engagement. Imagine the character, let's call him Tom, working on a new project, something he's passionate about but also anxious about. He's been making progress, but just as he begins to feel confident, the familiar wave of self-doubt hits. The voice in his mind tells him he's not good enough, that he's destined to fail, that others are more capable. These thoughts come in quickly, as they always have, pushing him into a state of paralysis. But this time, something is different. Instead of reacting as he normally would, either by giving in to the thoughts or by trying to force them away, Tom pauses. He takes a deep breath. He remembers his training, the practice of observing thoughts without getting swept up in them. Rather than engaging with the thought, he simply observes it. "I'm having a thought about failure," he acknowledges. The thought is there, but he doesn't allow it to dictate his actions or change his course. This is the turning point. Tom doesn't engage with the self-sabotaging thought. He doesn't fight it, but he doesn't let it pull him into action either. He simply lets it pass. And as it fades, another thought appears, maybe a thought about how much effort he has already put in, or a memory of a past success. This, too, he observes without attaching to it. The key here is the practice of non-engagement. Tom no longer identifies with the thoughts as if they are his reality. They are simply fleeting mental events, neither good nor bad, just thoughts. By letting go of the need to engage with every thought, Tom experiences a profound shift. He no longer feels the need to act on every impulse or to give in to emotional reactions. The thoughts that once triggered his self-sabotage no longer have the power to derail him. He simply allows them to rise and fall without getting involved. This moment of clarity marks the rise of self-mastery. It's not about fighting against the thoughts or trying to suppress them, it's about choosing not to be controlled by them. Tom learns that his progress is not dictated by the presence of doubt or fear, but by his ability to stay focused on his actions despite them. This is the essence of Zen training. To remain present, to engage in the task at hand, and to let thoughts pass by without letting them shape your behavior. In this moment, Tom realizes that he has always had the power to overcome self-sabotage. It wasn't about changing his circumstances or eliminating all negativity, but about changing his relationship with his thoughts. By practicing the art of letting thoughts pass without engagement, he begins to step into a new level of self-mastery. This shift isn't immediate, and it doesn't mean that he will never face self-doubt again. But it does mean that, from this point on, he will face those doubts with a new level of control, awareness, and clarity. For men who sabotage their own progress, this turning point is transformative. It's the moment when they stop being defined by their doubts and start defining themselves by their actions. By learning to observe thoughts without engaging with them, they gain the ability to move through challenges with calm, focus, and the confidence that they are in control of their own responses. In the realm of Zen, there exists a state of focus so powerful that it becomes a weapon that can slice through distractions, sharpen decision-making, and elevate one's performance to elite levels. This state, which is cultivated through years of practice, is the essence of dangerous focus. It is the ability to direct all mental and physical energy toward a single purpose, without hesitation, without distraction, and with precision. For the samurai, this level of focus was not just a tool for self-discipline. It was a matter of life and death. The samurai, warriors known for their exceptional discipline and skill, understood that the mind must be honed like a blade. In combat, there was no room for wavering thought or fear. To survive, they had to cultivate a state of focus that allowed them to act with lightning speed, to think and react in the moment without the interference of doubt or second-guessing. This state of high focus is often described in Zen as the ability to enter mushin, or no mind, where the individual acts without the hindrance of thought, allowing the body and mind to move in perfect harmony. When a samurai entered a duel, they had to block out all distractions, the movement of their opponent, the sounds of the crowd, the feeling of fatigue in their body. The focus required to engage in a life-or-death battle could not be shallow. It had to be profound. Every strike, every block, every decision had to be executed with complete clarity, without hesitation or fear. This level of focus turned the samurai's mind into a weapon, enabling them to respond to their opponent's movements instinctively, without overthinking. In the midst of a duel, if a samurai's mind was clouded with doubt or fear, their movements would slow, and their reactions would be delayed. The slightest moment of hesitation could mean death, but when their focus was sharp, when they were completely present and absorbed in the moment, they could move faster than their opponent, anticipating each move before it even occurred. The ability to perceive the opponent's intent before they acted was a hallmark of a true master. Dangerous focus, for the samurai, was not just about reacting faster, it was about becoming one with the moment, and in doing so, becoming virtually unbeatable. This dangerous focus is not reserved for samurai or warriors. It is a skill that can be cultivated by anyone seeking to achieve peak performance. The key lies in training the mind to become impervious to distractions, to be able to direct all energy toward the task at hand, and to act decisively without the burden of overthinking. Whether you are preparing for a high-stakes presentation, working toward a personal goal, or overcoming a challenge, the power of dangerous focus can be your greatest asset. Zen teaches that focus is not just about blocking out distractions, but about fully immersing yourself in the present moment. When you practice dangerous focus, you are not merely concentrating on the task. You are living in it, breathing it, embodying it. This level of focus can be developed through consistent practice, whether through meditation, mindfulness exercises, or the deliberate training of your attention. It is about building a mental framework that allows you to engage with your surroundings without becoming consumed by them. The power of this focus is immense. It allows you to overcome obstacles, face challenges with courage, and perform at your highest potential. Like the samurai, you can learn to use your mind as a weapon, one that sharpens your discipline, your clarity, and your ability to act with precision and purpose. One of the most profound effects of achieving dangerous focus, particularly in a state like Mushin, the no-mind state, is a shift in time perception. For men seeking control, this shift can be both enlightening and empowering. When the mind is fully immersed in the present moment, free from distractions, time itself begins to behave differently. What feels like hours can pass in the span of mere minutes, and what was once an overwhelming task can feel almost effortless. This phenomenon is not a trick of the mind, but a real shift in how we experience time when our focus is sharp and unbroken. Imagine for a moment that you are in the middle of a critical situation. Perhaps you're preparing for an important meeting, competing in a high-stakes event, or even facing a moment of intense pressure. In this scenario, your mind could easily become overwhelmed, racing between thoughts of what's at stake, potential outcomes, and personal doubts. But when you achieve dangerous focus, this mental chaos quiets, and the world around you begins to slow down. In a state of deep focus, the usual mental noise fades away, leaving only what is immediately necessary. You are no longer caught up in worries about the past or anxieties about the future. Instead, your entire being is concentrated on the task at hand. In Zen, this is often described as a time dilation experience. The mind enters a state of clarity where every action feels precise and measured, and time itself stretches or contracts based on your awareness. For example, a Zen master might be executing a precise movement in martial arts, each strike or defensive motion calculated with perfect attention. To an observer, the movement might appear as if it's unfolding in slow motion, but for the practitioner, it's as if time is expanding to accommodate their every action. The sense of urgency that would normally accompany the situation, whether it's a moment of combat or a decision-making process, melts away. You no longer feel rushed. Instead, you feel as though you have all the time in the world, even as you're performing at your highest level. This psychological effect of deep focus can be a game changer. When time slows down, it allows you to make decisions with clarity and precision. In everyday life, this might manifest as the ability to respond calmly in a crisis or to navigate complex tasks without feeling overwhelmed. In Zen, the slowing of time is a signal that you are fully present, absorbed in the moment without distraction or interference. This experience is the epitome of control, not controlling the world around you, but controlling how you respond to it. The power of this focus is evident in moments of high pressure. When your focus is sharp, you can act with certainty, as if the universe has slowed down to match your mental pace. Your reactions become more instinctive, free of hesitation or second-guessing. Whether you are facing a physical challenge, a difficult conversation, or a decision that could change the course of your life, the ability to slow down the world around you creates a sense of mastery. Zen teaches that this time dilation isn't just a random occurrence, it is the result of mastery over the mind. Through consistent practice, you can train your mind to enter this state of flow at will. The more you engage in practices that enhance your ability to focus, like meditation or mindfulness exercises, the more accessible this deep focus becomes. Over time, you will begin to experience moments where you control your perception of time with ease, where your mental state remains unshaken, even in the most intense of situations. For men craving control, this shift in time perception offers more than just peace of mind. It offers true power, the power to engage with life on your own terms, to respond to challenges with clarity, and to move through moments of pressure with calm confidence. When focus becomes a weapon, time becomes an ally, and the world slows down to accommodate your mastery of the moment. For many men seeking transformation, there comes a defining moment, a moment when all the effort, practice, and struggle to control the mind finally culminate in something extraordinary. It's not just about mastering focus, It's about reaching a level of concentration so profound that it feels almost supernatural. This is the moment when the character touches the threshold of dangerous level focus, a state of absolute mental clarity, where every distraction, every impulse, and every doubt falls away. Imagine the character, let's call him Ethan, working tirelessly toward a goal. He has practiced Zen techniques, refined his focus, and worked through his internal resistance. Yet, despite all the effort, the breakthrough moment hasn't arrived. But then, one day, something shifts. The practice pays off. Ethan sits down to focus on a task, something important, something that requires every ounce of his concentration, and suddenly, he feels it. The noise in his mind fades, the chaotic thoughts that once ruled him, the doubts that always seemed to accompany every decision, all dissolve into silence. He's no longer thinking about the task. He is the task. In that moment, Ethan touches the threshold of dangerous level focus. It's not just a fleeting moment of clarity, it's a transformation. Time seems to stretch, and the usual sense of urgency evaporates. He is no longer rushing or pushing. His mind is sharp, yet calm, as though it has reached a state of perfect stillness. He can see every detail of the task, perceive every subtle shift in his environment, and act with precision. There is no hesitation, no second-guessing. Every movement is deliberate. Every decision feels natural, as if it were the only possible choice. This is the emotional payoff. Ethan's focus has become so deep that it transcends the ordinary limits of concentration. In this state, the task becomes effortless. The mental fatigue that once accompanied any serious effort disappears, replaced by a sense of flow, a state of being where action and thought merge seamlessly. It's a state where the mind is no longer fragmented or scattered, but completely aligned with the present moment. Every distraction that once seemed so urgent has melted away, leaving behind only clarity and purpose. Ethan has reached the threshold of focus, and with it, a new sense of control. This threshold is the result of consistent practice. It's not a one-time event, but the culmination of every effort to sharpen the mind, to train it to remain still and focused. It's the payoff for every moment of mindfulness, every meditation, and every attempt to silence the mental noise. In reaching this point, Ethan realizes something profound. This state of focus is always available. It is not an anomaly but a skill that can be tapped into at any moment, once the foundation of discipline has been laid. For men seeking transformation, this breakthrough represents not just a change in how they focus, but a change in how they approach life. Dangerous level focus is more than just mental clarity. It's the key to emotional control, decision-making, and resilience. In this state, there is no fear of failure, no anxiety about outcomes. There is only the task at hand, executed with the full power of a mind that is free from doubt. This is what Zen teaches. True power lies not in controlling the external world, but in mastering the inner landscape. Reaching this threshold is not the end of the journey, it's just the beginning. Once the character has tasted this level of focus, it becomes a new standard. He knows that this state is attainable, and with continued practice, he can return to it again and again. It is the beginning of a new way of living, one where every moment is approached with clarity, purpose, and unshakable focus. In a world filled with constant distractions, many men find themselves caught in the whirlwind of daily life, pulled from one task to the next, never fully engaged in the present moment. The ability to stay focused, to remain present and aware, can seem like a lost art. Yet, Zen offers a powerful antidote to this scattered existence. Zanshin. The concept of unwavering awareness. Zanshin is not just awareness in the moment of action, but a constant, unbroken presence that extends both before and after an event. It is a heightened state of awareness that cuts through distraction and allows for full engagement with whatever is happening, whether in the heat of a challenge or in the stillness of everyday life. In Zen, Zanshin is often discussed in the context of combat. The samurai, who were masters of mental discipline, understood that combat required not just physical skill, but a constant awareness of their surroundings. Their opponent, and their own state of being. A samurai in battle could not afford to be distracted. Every action from the strike of the sword to the subtle movements of the feet required complete attention. Zanshin allowed the warrior to respond instinctively and fluidly, without hesitation or doubt. However, Zanshin is not limited to the battlefield. The concept extends far beyond martial arts, into every aspect of daily life. It is about cultivating a continuous awareness that does not break. Whether you are in the middle of a difficult conversation, making decisions at work, or engaging in mundane tasks like driving or washing dishes, in every moment, Zanshin encourages you to be fully present, aware of your environment, your thoughts, and your emotions. It is the awareness that you are not only reacting to life, but fully engaging with it, without being pulled away by distraction or internal chatter. Before an action, Zanshin means being fully attuned to the present moment. Before a samurai enters combat, he takes a deep breath, aligns his mind and body, and prepares with total awareness. There is no rush, no anxiety, just a calm readiness. For the modern man, this could mean taking a moment before a significant action, such as a meeting, a workout, or a decision, to center himself. This period of pre-action awareness is crucial in setting the tone for what follows. It allows you to act from a place of clarity, without the noise of distraction clouding your thoughts. During the action, Zanshin becomes total presence, fully immersed in whatever you are doing. Whether you are negotiating a business deal, speaking with a loved one, or solving a problem, Zanshin allows you to engage with full focus, paying attention to every nuance of the situation. It's about remaining aware of not just the external environment, but also of your internal state, your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. The goal is to maintain a state of calm, clear thinking, where your actions are deliberate and aligned with your intent, not influenced by reactive impulses or stress. After the action, Zanshin continues. It is the awareness of the aftermath, reflecting on the action, learning from it, and adjusting accordingly. After a battle, the samurai would review the fight, learning from each movement, each decision. Similarly, after any task or interaction, Zanshin calls for self-reflection. It's not about dwelling on mistakes or achievements, but rather understanding what worked, what didn't, and what can be improved. This continuous awareness allows for growth and improvement, turning every experience into a lesson. For men who are easily distracted, Zanshin offers a path toward perpetual awareness, a way of living where focus becomes a way of being, not just an occasional practice. With training, Zanshin teaches that you don't need to compartmentalize your attention. Instead, it's about integrating deep focus into every moment, whether you are actively engaged in a task, in conversation, or simply existing. By cultivating Zanshin, you transform your life from a series of disjointed, distracted moments into a continuous thread of present, purposeful engagement. Whether before, during, or after action, the awareness you build through Zen can elevate every aspect of your life, bringing clarity, control, and inner peace. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Life comes at us with a constant stream of responsibilities, deadlines, distractions, and emotional ups and downs. Many men, especially those who struggle with stress and overwhelm, find themselves collapsing under the weight of life's chaos, unable to stay focused or present for long. Yet, Zen offers a powerful antidote to this constant mental fragmentation. Zanshin, the practice of maintaining unwavering awareness, not just in moments of high intensity, but throughout every task and interaction, no matter how mundane. Imagine the character David, a man who has always found himself scattered and reactive. The demands of his job, family, and personal life have left him feeling drained and mentally fractured. He often finds himself distracted, unable to focus on one task before another pulls him away. But David has started practicing Zen. He's learned the concept of Zanshin, and now he's determined to bring this heightened awareness into his daily life. One morning, David wakes up feeling the weight of the day ahead. Meetings to attend, errands to run, emails to answer. Life is already throwing a million things at him before he even steps out the door. Instead of allowing himself to become overwhelmed, he pauses for a moment, he takes a deep breath and remembers his training. Zanshin is not just for special moments, it's for every moment. He begins his morning routine with complete presence. Whether he's brushing his teeth, making coffee, or getting dressed, David practices Zanshin by focusing all his attention on the task at hand. His mind does not wander to the tasks that will come later. It is fully absorbed in the present action. The simple act of making coffee becomes a moment of mindfulness, where he's fully aware of the feel of the cup, the aroma of the brew, the sounds of the water heating. This practice of moving through the world without losing focus is transformative. David begins to notice how much of his day has previously been spent on autopilot, going through the motions without fully engaging. Now, even in the smallest tasks, he experiences a deeper level of focus. As he heads to work, he makes a conscious effort to stay present, whether it's in his drive, his walk, or his interactions. The world, instead of being a chaotic blur of tasks, begins to feel more manageable, because he's moving through it with a sense of purpose and clarity. When he enters a meeting, David practices Zanshin by being present in the conversation, truly listening to his colleagues, and responding with intention. In the past, he might have been mentally distracted, thinking about his next move or his to-do list. But now, he's able to maintain his focus, even as the conversation shifts and the energy in the room fluctuates. Zanshin allows him to remain centered, responding not out of habit or reaction, but with deliberate awareness of the present moment. Even in more chaotic situations, when David encounters a stressful situation at work or a conflict with a family member, he can still practice Zanshin. Instead of reacting emotionally or getting caught up in the stress of the moment, he pauses and takes a breath, bringing his awareness back to the present. He doesn't try to control the situation, but he controls his response, engaging with the situation calmly and deliberately. This shift from reacting to responding gives David a sense of inner control, allowing him to navigate challenges without losing his focus or his sense of self. For men who collapse under life's chaos, Zanshin offers a way to reframe how they engage with the world. It's about taking back control of their attention, learning to stay present, even when the demands of life threaten to pull them in 100 different directions. By bringing this awareness into every moment, whether it's a meeting, a conversation, or a mundane task, Zanshin teaches that true focus is not about eliminating distractions, but about maintaining presence no matter what is happening around you. As David continues to practice Zanshin, he finds that the chaos of life no longer overwhelms him. Instead, he moves through each moment with calm assurance, knowing that, no matter how hectic life becomes, he can stay centered. Zanshin has not only transformed his relationship with his daily tasks, but with his entire experience of life. Every moment, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to practice awareness. And with that practice comes a deeper sense of control, presence, and peace. For many men seeking transformation, the ultimate goal is not just to improve temporarily or to make incremental changes. It's to redefine how they live, to integrate new practices so deeply that their entire way of being is altered. This is the profound impact of Zen. The shift from doing mindfulness and focus to being mindful and focused. The character, let's call him Mark, has reached a point where presence is no longer just a practice, but has become a core part of his identity. His new way of living is defined by awareness, and this transformation affects every aspect of his life. At the beginning of his journey, Mark struggled with distractions, anxiety, and emotional reactivity. His days were spent in a haze of chaotic thoughts, scattered attention, and emotional swings. Despite his best efforts, he often found himself losing control in moments of stress or pressure. However, as he continued his Zen training, he began to experience a shift. Over time, he stopped merely practicing focus and started living it. His days became an ongoing series of intentional, mindful moments, each more deeply rooted in the present than the last. Mark's transformation began with small changes. At first, he used Zen practices to ground himself in stressful situations. He would pause, breathe deeply, and focus his attention on the present moment whenever his mind started to race. But as these practices became habitual, something deeper occurred. Presence didn't just stay in specific moments, it began to flow into every aspect of his life. Now, when he wakes up in the morning, he is fully awake, not just physically but mentally. He no longer rushes through his morning routine with a mind full of to-dos. Instead, he begins each day with intention, taking each step mindfully, whether it's making coffee or getting dressed. This presence also began to affect how Mark interacted with others. Before, conversations often felt like a blur. He was physically there, but mentally elsewhere, thinking about the next task or worrying about the past. Now, when he speaks to his colleagues, friends, or family, he listens with full attention. His interactions are no longer driven by unconscious habits of judgment or distraction. He is present, truly there, in the conversation, responding with intention rather than reacting out of impulse. This has not only improved his relationships, but has also made him a better leader and a more empathetic person. Mark's work life also shifted dramatically. Tasks that once felt overwhelming, like responding to emails or preparing presentations, became opportunities to practice focus. Instead of feeling anxious about deadlines, he now feels calm and clear-headed. He tackles each task one step at a time, with full attention, not rushing or overloading himself with mental clutter. This deep focus not only makes him more productive, but also more effective. His mind is no longer divided, and this unity allows him to engage with his work at the highest level. He is no longer simply working. He is fully immersed in the process. Most importantly, this change has become Mark's new identity. He is no longer someone who struggles to focus or is overwhelmed by distractions. His core identity has shifted. He is a man of presence. This is not just something he does, it is who he is. This transformation is not limited to his external actions. It has altered how he feels, thinks, and experiences life. The chaos that once dominated his mind has been replaced with clarity and focus. His emotional reactions are no longer driven by external circumstances, but by his internal state of calm and centeredness. For transformation-driven men, Mark's journey is an inspiring example of how Zen can create deep and lasting change. Through consistent practice, presence becomes not just a fleeting state but a way of life. This shift in identity, where presence, awareness, and focus become second nature, paves the way for a life of greater peace, productivity, and fulfillment. Mark's new way of living isn't about achieving perfection or eliminating all distractions. It's about developing a deep connection to the present moment, making awareness a part of every action, and living with intention, regardless of the circumstances. Through Zen, he has achieved the ultimate transformation, becoming the embodiment of the focus and presence he once sought. For men seeking transformation, the path to unbreakable focus can often feel overwhelming. Life is full of distractions, and the mind is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions. But Zen offers a step-by-step approach that turns this chaos into clarity. Through the 5 Zen focus principles, anyone can begin to transform a scattered, distracted mind into a razor-sharp tool for concentration and achievement. These principles are not just theoretical ideas, they are actionable steps that, when practiced consistently, can lead to profound mental mastery. 1. Subtraction. Before addition, clear the mind. The first principle of Zen focus is one of subtraction, not addition. In the modern world, we are often taught that success comes from doing more multitasking, managing countless tasks at once, and continually adding new techniques or strategies. However, Zen teaches us that true focus begins with clearing the mental clutter. Before trying to focus, we must first remove distractions. This can mean clearing our workspace, quieting our internal chatter, and focusing on one thing at a time. For men who struggle with overthinking, this principle provides immediate relief. It's about recognizing that the mind cannot operate at its highest capacity when overwhelmed by unnecessary noise. Subtracting distractions and creating mental space for clarity is the first step toward achieving deep focus. 2. Single task immersion, Ichigo Zamai. Once the mind has been cleared, the next principle is single task immersion. In Zen, this is known as Ichigyo Zamai. which means focusing completely on one task, one object, or one action. Zen monks train their minds to concentrate on the task at hand, whether it's sweeping the floor, practicing martial arts, or writing a letter. By immersing oneself fully in a single activity, the practitioner experiences a state of flow, where distractions do not pull them away, and each action becomes a form of meditation. For men accustomed to multitasking, this principle offers a way to reclaim control over their focus. Instead of feeling scattered or pulled in different directions, practicing single-task immersion allows them to give their full attention to what they are doing, which leads to greater productivity, efficiency, and satisfaction. 3. Breath as the anchor, mindfulness of breathing. The third principle centers on the breath, the ultimate anchor in Zen practice. Breath is always with us, and it can be used as a tool to bring the mind back to the present moment. By focusing on the breath, we can calm the nervous system, clear the mind, and regain focus. This principle teaches us to use the breath not just for relaxation, but as an anchor to maintain mental stillness amidst external chaos. In moments of stress, anxiety, or distraction, turning attention to the breath is a simple yet powerful tool to center oneself. For men who feel constantly overwhelmed by external pressures, this practice of mindful breathing creates a pause in the mental storm, allowing for clarity and focus to emerge. 4. Observer consciousness, non-reactivity. The fourth principle is observer consciousness, the ability to observe thoughts without reacting to them. Our minds are constantly filled with judgments, opinions, and emotional reactions to what we experience. Zen teaches us to step back and simply observe these thoughts and emotions without identifying with them or allowing them to dictate our actions. By practicing non-reactivity, we begin to gain control over our emotional responses, preventing them from disrupting our focus. This principle is transformative for men who tend to react impulsively or become emotionally overwhelmed. By observing their thoughts and emotions without getting caught in them, they can maintain a sense of calm and clarity, even in stressful or challenging situations. This non-reactive state becomes a powerful foundation for unbreakable focus. 5. Continuous presence, Zanshin. The final principle is Zanshin, which translates to perpetual awareness. Zanshin is the practice of remaining fully aware and present, not just during specific tasks, but throughout every moment of the day. Zen teaches that focus is not something we only apply in high-stakes situations. It's a constant state of being. By cultivating Zanshin, we train ourselves to be present and aware of our surroundings, our thoughts, and our emotions, without being distracted by them. For men who struggle with fluctuating attention or feel constantly pulled from one thing to the next, Zanshin offers the path to constant focus. It's the ability to move through life with steady attention, aware of everything around you but undisturbed by the chaos. These 5 Zen focus principles provide a clear, structured approach to cultivating unbreakable focus. By starting with the practice of subtraction, moving to single-task immersion, using the breath as an anchor, cultivating non-reactivity, and practicing perpetual awareness, men can transform their ability to focus and remain present in any situation. The chaos that once dominated their lives can give way to clarity, discipline, and an unshakable sense of calm. For men seeking to regain control over their minds, these principles provide the tools necessary to shift from a scattered, reactive state to one of deep focus and true presence. The transformation from chaos to clarity begins here, step by step, moment by moment. For many men, the idea of creating lasting change can feel daunting. The fear of inconsistency of starting something new, only to fall off track, often prevents them from committing fully to a new habit or practice. This fear can be particularly paralyzing when it comes to mastering focus and discipline. However, Zen teaches that the path to mastery is not about perfection or flawless consistency, but rather about the repetition of small, focused actions, day after day. It's in this repetition that a new identity is forged, one of discipline, presence, and unbreakable focus. Mastery is not something that happens overnight. It's not about achieving some grand goal in a short amount of time. Instead, it's about committing to daily rituals that gradually build upon each other, creating the foundation for long-term transformation. Zen practitioners understand this principle deeply. They do not expect to suddenly attain perfect focus. Instead, they commit to the practice of daily meditation, mindful breathing, and other rituals that consistently sharpen their attention and mental clarity. Over time, these rituals transform the practitioner's mind and body until focus and presence become ingrained in their very identity. The key to overcoming the fear of inconsistency lies in the practice of ritual. Rituals are the repeated, purposeful actions we engage in daily. In Zen, these rituals may involve seated meditation, zazen, mindful walking, or simple acts like cleaning or cooking, all performed with complete attention and presence. By engaging in these rituals regularly, Zen practitioners are not just developing a habit, they are shaping their identity as someone who is calm, disciplined, and focused. For men who fear inconsistency, the reassurance lies in knowing that small steps, repeated over time, yield lasting results. It's not about doing everything perfectly from the start, but about showing up every day, even when motivation wanes. The Zen approach teaches that true growth is not linear, and setbacks are part of the journey. What matters is the commitment to the practice itself, not the perfection of the practice. Each time you return to your daily ritual, you reinforce your commitment to yourself, building the mental strength that will eventually lead to mastery. Consider the practice of meditation. In the beginning, it may feel like your mind is racing, filled with distractions and unproductive thoughts. At first, it might feel as if you're getting nowhere, but the act of sitting in stillness, even for a few minutes, is a powerful form of repetition. Over time, the gaps between distractions grow longer, and the periods of deep focus become more frequent. What was once a challenge becomes natural. This process of slowly building consistency, of showing up every day with intention, is how focus and discipline become ingrained in your identity. Eventually, you no longer identify with the mind that is easily distracted. You become someone who practices presence, no matter the external circumstances. This principle also applies to physical discipline. Zen monks don't just focus on the mind, they cultivate a deep awareness of the body as well. Through repetitive physical practices, like mindful walking or martial arts, they train their bodies to be still and focused. For men who fear that they'll falter or fail in their focus practices, Zen teaches that it's in these small, repetitive actions that mental mastery is born. By aligning the body with the mind through daily rituals, men begin to cultivate a powerful connection between the two, reinforcing their commitment to clarity and focus. Over time, these repeated rituals build momentum. They become more than just practices, they become a part of who you are. Rather than trying to be perfect or achieve results instantly, Zen invites you to focus on the process. Through consistent practice, you become the person who is calm, present, and focused. Not because you've mastered some distant goal, but because you have committed to the ritual of focus, day in and day out. For men who struggle with inconsistency, the reassurance comes from understanding that true mastery is not about perfection. It is about commitment to the process and the power of repetition. Through daily rituals, you begin to shape your identity, transforming from someone who struggles with focus into someone who embodies it. Each small, consistent action compounds over time, leading to a profound transformation in both the mind and the way you experience life. For men who are ready to take their focus to the next level, the Zen system for dangerous focus offers a repeatable, step-by-step model for cultivating unbreakable attention and mental clarity. The beauty of this system is that it's not about theoretical concepts or complex strategies, it's about actionable steps that can be applied immediately to create lasting change. Through consistent practice, you can develop the kind of focus that allows you to perform at your highest level, no matter the challenge in front of you. Here is the blueprint for dangerous focus, a simple yet powerful system that combines the core principles of Zen with practical exercises to sharpen your attention and control. 1. Begin with subtraction. Clear the mental noise. The first step is always subtraction. Before you can build focus, you must clear away distractions. This is where most people fail. They jump straight into focusing without realizing that their minds are filled with clutter thoughts, worries, and external distractions that drain mental energy. To clear this clutter, start by creating a distraction-free environment. Put away your phone, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and take a moment to breathe deeply. Allow your mind to settle. In Zen, this is called clearing the mind. Before the practice begins, subtract everything that is unnecessary, both externally and internally. The clearer your mind, the more powerful your focus will be. 2. Use breath as your anchor. Focus on the present. Next, use your breath as an anchor to bring yourself fully into the present moment. Zen teaches that the breath is the easiest and most accessible tool for achieving mental stillness. When you focus on your breath, you interrupt the cycle of distracting thoughts and bring your attention back to the task at hand. In the Zen system for dangerous focus, take a few moments to engage in mindful breathing. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose. Hold for a moment, and then exhale slowly. Focus entirely on the sensation of breathing, feeling each inhale and exhale with full attention. The breath naturally calms the mind and sharpens your focus. Practice this breathing exercise whenever you feel scattered, and you'll find that it becomes easier to regain control over your mental state. 3. Single task immersion. Focus on one thing at a time. Once your mind is cleared and you've anchored yourself with breath, it's time to practice single task immersion. The Zen practice of Ichigyo-zamai teaches that real focus comes from immersing yourself completely in one task, without switching between multiple things. Multitasking is a myth. It fragments attention and reduces effectiveness. To apply this principle, choose one task, whether it's writing, working, or even a simple household chore, and give it your full attention. Engage with it fully, noticing every detail, every movement, every action. Let go of any desire to check your phone or move on to something else. Commit to being fully present with the task for a set period, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour. By practicing immersion in every task, you develop a deep, undistracted focus that builds momentum. 4. Observer consciousness. Control your reactions. As you immerse yourself in tasks, thoughts and emotions will inevitably arise. This is where observer consciousness comes in. The Zen principle of being the observer, without reacting to thoughts, feelings, or distractions allows you to maintain focus even in challenging situations. When negative thoughts or emotions arise, whether it's frustration, boredom, or stress, simply observe them without engaging. Recognize the thought or feeling for what it is, without attaching to it. Say to yourself, "I am thinking of frustration," or "I am feeling stressed." By labeling your emotions, you detach from them. This allows you to stay focused on your task without being pulled into mental distractions or emotional reactions. 5. Perpetual awareness. Integrate focus into every moment. Finally, Zanshin, or perpetual awareness, is the key to integrating this focus into all areas of your life. Zen focus is not something you turn on and off. It becomes a way of being. As you continue to practice focus in specific tasks, begin to carry that awareness into every aspect of your life, from your interactions with others to how you approach daily responsibilities. Throughout your day, practice Zanshin by staying present in each moment. Whether you're eating, walking, or talking, bring your full attention to whatever you're doing. The more you practice awareness in everyday moments, the more natural it becomes to maintain focus in high-pressure situations. The blueprint for dangerous focus provides a structured, repeatable system for building unbreakable focus. By following these 5 steps, subtracting distractions, using breath to anchor your mind, immersing yourself in one task, practicing observer consciousness, and integrating perpetual awareness, you will gradually develop the ability to focus with exceptional clarity and power. This system, when practiced consistently, will transform your approach to everything in your life, helping you master your attention, sharpen your discipline, and live with greater presence. For many men, the idea of achieving unbreakable focus can seem like something reserved for a select few. the highly disciplined, the extraordinary, or the naturally gifted. Yet, one of the most empowering truths about Zen and dangerous focus is that this level of mental clarity and control is accessible to everyone. It doesn't require innate talent, nor does it depend on having extraordinary circumstances. The mind you need to achieve dangerous focus isn't something you are born with, it's something you build. The first step in creating the mind of powerful focus is to understand that focus is a skill, just like any other. Whether it's playing an instrument, learning a new language, or mastering a martial art, focus is cultivated through repetition and practice. There's no magic formula or shortcut to building a focused mind. It's the result of consistent training, of showing up day after day, and practicing the principles that lead to mental clarity. Zen teaches us that focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. At first, your ability to concentrate may feel weak or inconsistent. Your mind may wander easily, or distractions may pull you off course. But this doesn't mean you're not capable of dangerous focus, it simply means you need more practice. The more you engage in practices that strengthen your attention, whether through meditation, mindful breathing, or focusing on a single task, the more resilient and powerful your focus will become. Dangerous focus is not about achieving an unnatural state of constant concentration. Instead, it's about training your mind to remain present and aware, regardless of the circumstances. It's the ability to block out distractions when you need to, and to remain calm and centered when life gets chaotic. This level of focus is built through small, daily efforts. And with time, your mind will naturally begin to adjust. One of the most profound realizations on this journey is that focus doesn't have to be a fleeting experience. For many people, focus is something that comes and goes in bursts. But with Zen, you can train your focus to become a natural state of being. You begin to embody focus not as something you strive for intermittently, but as something that flows through your daily actions. Whether you're at work, with your family, or even relaxing by yourself, you begin to live in a state of perpetual awareness and clarity. This is the true power of dangerous focus. It's not just about what you do in moments of high intensity. It's about how you carry that presence into every aspect of your life. Through the Zen system for focus, you learn that the mind you can build is not one that is rigid or perfectly controlled at all times. It's a mind that is resilient, adaptive, and always coming back to the present moment. It's a mind that knows how to release distractions, to clear away unnecessary mental clutter, and to return to the task at hand with renewed clarity. The path to dangerous focus is not always linear, it's a process that ebbs and flows. Some days may feel easier than others, and some challenges may seem insurmountable. But the key is in consistency. Just as an athlete trains daily to build their strength, you can train your mind to develop the focus that will carry you through life's most demanding moments. This is the journey to building the mind you need to achieve dangerous focus. It's about commitment to the process, to training, and to the realization that focus is something that anyone can develop, no matter where you are starting from. The mind you can build is one of profound power. A mind that can focus deeply, stay present, and cut through distractions with the precision of a sharp blade. For many men, the prospect of cultivating deep focus can feel intimidating, especially when the mind seems overrun with anxiety, stress, and a constant flood of distractions. The thought of quieting the mind, or achieving a state of dangerous focus, can feel like an insurmountable challenge, especially when it seems like there's so much to juggle. But Zen teaches us that the path to focus doesn't begin with grand gestures or intense mental exercises. It starts with something as simple as one breath. When you feel overwhelmed, the natural instinct is often to try and solve everything at once, to mentally tackle all your tasks and problems in a single swoop. This can lead to burnout, frustration, and an inability to focus on anything at all. But Zen offers a radical shift in perspective. Focus is not about controlling everything at once. It's about controlling where your attention goes, one small step at a time. The first step toward deep focus is to take a moment to simply pause and breathe. This might sound too simple to be effective, but in truth, it's one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. When your mind feels overwhelmed, a single, conscious breath is an anchor that brings you back to the present moment. Start with one breath. Close your eyes, sit up straight, and breathe in slowly through your nose. Feel the air fill your lungs, expanding your belly as you inhale. Hold the breath for a moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing tension as you let go of the air. As you do this, focus all your attention on the sensation of the breath. Inhale, exhale. This is your first step toward clearing the noise in your mind. At first, this might feel like a small gesture, but it has an immediate effect. This act of focusing on the breath brings you into the present moment, away from the distractions of your thoughts and worries. The simple act of breathing is a way to ground yourself, to center your mind and prepare it for deeper focus. It doesn't matter how chaotic or overwhelming the rest of your life may seem. By focusing on this one breath, you return to the simplicity of the present moment, creating a moment of calm in the storm. Removing fear begins with this small, accessible act. Many men avoid practices like meditation or focus building because they fear they will fail, or that they won't be able to quiet their mind. But by starting with just one breath, you realize that you don't need to control everything at once. One breath is simple, it's manageable, and it's within your control. Once you've taken this first breath, you'll notice that your mind begins to clear. The frantic thoughts may not disappear completely, but the intensity of the mental noise starts to quiet. Each breath is an opportunity to let go of the urgency and simply be present. It's in these moments of presence that deep focus begins to take root. You can't rush it, and you don't need to force it. Focus grows naturally when you give yourself permission to start small and take it one step at a time. From this point, you can begin to build upon this simple practice. After taking a few moments to focus on the breath, you can gradually expand to other simple mindfulness practices. Whether you're tackling a task at work, having a conversation, or simply taking a walk, bring your attention back to your breath. When distractions arise, return to that same breathing pattern. Breathe in, breathe out. It's a small action that helps to bring you back to the present moment, turning a fleeting thought or moment of stress into an opportunity for focus. For men who feel overwhelmed, the key is to remove the fear of trying to control everything at once. The journey to deep focus starts with one simple step, one breath. From there, with practice, you begin to build the mental clarity and strength that will enable you to stay focused, calm, and centered, no matter what life throws at you. One breath at a time. The journey to unbreakable focus isn't something that happens overnight. It's a transformation, a gradual rebuild of your mind, your habits, and your identity. And just like any meaningful transformation, it requires time, commitment, and consistency. Your 100-day Zen focus journey begins now. This journey is an invitation, a call to action to step into a new way of living. One where focus is not a fleeting moment, but a constant state of being. If you've felt the frustration of a scattered mind, of living in a constant state of distraction, this is your chance to break free. You've seen the power of Zen principles, the ability to clear the mind, sharpen focus, and create a life of greater clarity and purpose. Now, it's time to make it real. The 100-day journey is not about achieving perfection from the start. It's about committing to the process, taking small, consistent steps that will compound over time. Every single day you dedicate to your Zen focus practice will bring you closer to the powerful, present, and disciplined version of yourself that you are capable of becoming. Start with the basics. Begin each day by taking a few moments to clear your mind. Whether it's through deep breathing, meditation, or just sitting in silence, give yourself the gift of a focused mind at the start of each day. Take a few minutes in the morning to center yourself, breathe deeply, and set the intention for the day ahead. This is your first act of focus, and it will set the tone for everything that follows. Immerse yourself in the task at hand. As the day progresses, commit to single tasking. Whether it's work, a conversation, or even a simple household chore, give it your full attention. Let go of distractions and fully immerse yourself in the present moment. In each task, Practice Zanshin, maintaining awareness before, during, and after the action. This practice will help you sharpen your focus and develop a greater connection to the present. Build your daily rituals. Zen isn't just about big moments, it's about the small moments too. Incorporate simple, mindful rituals throughout your day, whether it's a few minutes of focused breathing before a meeting, mindful walking on your lunch break, or a quiet moment of reflection before bed. These small practices will train your mind to stay focused, even in the most chaotic environments. Track your progress. Over the next 100 days, you'll begin to notice subtle changes. Your mind will become more focused. You'll find that you're able to engage with tasks without getting distracted. Your emotions will become more stable, and you'll feel less overwhelmed by life's challenges. Track these changes, whether by journaling your experiences, noting moments of clarity, or reflecting on your progress each week. This will not only keep you accountable, but also remind you of the incredible transformation happening within you. Embrace the journey. There will be days when distractions feel overwhelming, when you slip back into old habits, or when you question whether this is all worth it. That's part of the journey. The key is consistency, not perfection. Embrace the process, knowing that each day you are building a stronger, more focused mind. The transformation you're seeking is already happening, one step at a time. This 100-day Zen-focused journey is about becoming someone who lives with intention, clarity, and unshakable focus. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that you've always known is possible, but that requires commitment to the process. Today, you start. With every breath, every task, every moment, you move closer to the man you're meant to be. The journey may not be easy, but it will be worth it. By the end of these 100 days, you will have built a new foundation, one of discipline, focus, and presence that will carry you for the rest of your life. Your 100-day Zen-focused journey begins now. Will you take the first step?